This is our interview with Midas Fall. I always love an interview when we have multiple band members.
Yes.
And we have
Multiple venues. Yeah.
multiple venues. Really like this album. It's not something that usually is up my alley, but it has totally won me over. Those songs really stick with you. This is a great album, so check it out.
Okay.
How are you, pal? You all right?
Aye, all right. Yeah. It's just walking the dog. I was gonna go camping tonight in fucking Jura, but I looked at the weather after I had said I would go, like booked a wee spot, and it was like, oh fuck that, it's -7 and it's pissing with rain. So
-7. Fucking hell.
minus fucking 7. It's only 40 minutes
Yeah.
up the road.
Wow.
So fucking ridiculous. It's 10 degrees here. It's like balmy.
Is
Yeah,
it usually
I know.
warmer this time of year there? Or
Um,
Well, they are. Yeah.
yeah, Rowan's a lot further north in Scotland than I am, and yeah, it's like I don't know. I think Oban has its own ecosystem by the sounds of its own microclimate.
It really does, though. It really does. Like Liz, I was speaking to Liz yesterday, and she was like, "Oh, fucking, she had to defrost her car when she got up the other morning." I was like, "Oh, my car was fine."
God, I've been like cycling to work in no jacket. It's been great.
Oh, jacket. I'm still wearing an Arctic parka.
Yeah.
It was overkill because I went on a big walk up the woods today, and it was like I was fucking sweating by the time I was halfway through it. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
There's no way to really appropriately dress for the weather here because it's like, oh, it's pissing with rain, and then it stops, and then it'll be sunny, and it'll be like, oh, there's actual heat in that sun, and then that'll fuck off for a bit, and it'll be cloudy, and you'll be looking at the clouds thinking, is it going to get thundery? And then it doesn't, or it might.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does. So yeah, in Glasgow, it's just like it seems to be kind of a more even temperament down in the
A
central.
little bit, yeah. Although this does just sound like Germany last week. Like that was fucking mental. Like it was sunny, it was hailstones, it was snow, it was raining, it was dry, it was windy.
That's what we have. We're in Baltimore, and we're in April in Baltimore. It's like jacket in the morning, afternoon tank top, nighttime it might be long sleeves. Like you have to use your whole wardrobe to get through the day.
Yeah, like the onion wardrobe, just like multiple layers in a fucking bag. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And then tomorrow they're calling for it to be like summer. And today it's like
it's just to be like
20
super hot.
degrees difference between today and tomorrow. So
crazy.
I've got 3 different weather apps on my phone, and it's like, what's the general consensus of how it's going to be? So it is kind of shit. Like I've been trapped before when there's been that flash flood, and it's like, oh, can't get home that way. I'll just drive 60 miles round this way instead. So yeah,
it'd be nice if they could get AI to predict the fucking weather properly. You know what I mean?
That would be good. That would be good.
Yeah, good use of AI.
Yeah.
It's horrible because we're runners, so I'm constantly going, all right, is today a good night to go out, after work? And it'll say partly cloudy, and I'll be like, this is the wettest partly cloudy I have ever been through.
Yeah, it's a fucking lie. Just like somebody's made that up because they're late for getting away to the pub. I'm just like, just fucking whatever, just say it's fishing rain, or say it's not, whatever. Anyway,
I would love to be like a weatherman or a psychic where you can just be 100% wrong all the time and still get paid.
I think his name is Michael Fish. But yeah, you might not get that reference. You should look him up though, Michael Fish. After this, if you want to Google Michael Fish hurricane, that's probably like the most notorious British weather fuck up there ever was. So yeah, go look at that. It's a laugh.
Very good.
Anyway, enough of the weather.
Right, shall we?
So we've really been enjoying you guys. We were kind of a little late to the party on you, but wow. So way back in the beginning, you were originally Merkin, and then where did you kind of change it to Midas Fall?
How did you know that? Where did you find that wee nugget information? I can't believe Liz isn't here.
Oh wow!
Really fucking be defending this, not me. Wait, okay, yeah. God, that's old. Forgot about that. Yeah, aye.
We do a lot of research. Yeah.
Is this going to be like a Nardwar interview? Where is this?
I was gonna say, what else have you fucking dug up?
Yeah, God.
I got pages here. Let's go.
Yeah. Like, question 4 is, don't you think your bureau third drawer down is a little overpacked? You know.
Oh, don't even.
You've been under surveillance. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was that's a long time ago. Yeah. So we were called Merkin, but we had a drummer join us for a wee while, Ben, who was lovely and sort of quite. I don't know what he's just a lovely guy, a lovely man, and he was disgusted by the name Merkin. I think for a while we just didn't have a name. It wasn't for very long, and yeah, so the name of the band came about because again, it was really early on, and a friend of mine was putting on this like fucking arts gig thing in Dundee. And was in the photocopy shop at the time, phoned me up and was like, right, I need a fucking band name because I'm just finishing this poster off. So she was like making this poster in the copy shop. Was like, I need a fucking band name. So we got a dictionary and just picked 2 words. And then it kind of stuck. So yeah, initially it was Merkin. We liked it. But Ben was just like, oh no, I just can't think about it. Yeah.
Well, prude.
I know. Who doesn't love a pubic wig?
I know. I'd have been fine with it for the record. I think it's a great name.
Maybe that's a side project.
Yeah, the Rowan and me's like Riot Girl. Yeah. Figure side project.
I agree with him though, because Merkin sounds like it could be a troll that hides underneath, a bridge, or Midas Fall. I think fits your big sound better.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you think so. Yeah, I guess I feel kind of bad because we never really put an awful lot or any thought actually into the name.
I've always been quite annoyed at like having been in lots of bands like before Midas Fall and taking that exact same approach of like just total shot in the dark, random. I need a name. It's never worked out. I've never ended up with something as good as Midas Fall. It's always just been gibberish.
Yeah.
Like,
really?
I think, yeah, you guys really. That was like a 1 in a million shot that you would take 2 random words from like a dictionary and put it together and get something that is not just comprehensible but actually like really cool.
Cool. I'm glad you think so. I don't know that I've ever really thought about it in that much depth before.
I think it's a cool name. Yeah, I think it's really good.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
Well, you guys won an award, and it looks like Prague Magazine gave you a Limelight Award for Evaporate. What was that like? I mean, that had to be kind of vindicating. Yeah.
So I wasn't there for that. So.
I was going to say, yeah.
No valor stealing from me.
Okay.
It was kind of surreal. It was kind of nuts. It was like, all right, cool, okay, yeah. That's yeah. It was just like a really lovely thing to have happened, and yeah, to get kind of I don't know, I don't not really feel comfortable with the word recognition, but just kind of that, you're not just pissing in the wind with it. And that was nice. It was a really lovely thing to get, and it really meant a lot as well. And I think at that point, we were both going through some kind of like some fairly big sort of personal stuff, and it was something that kind of was encouraging to keep fucking doing it as well, so yeah, it was like pretty important thing, pretty huge, pretty like for us anyway. So yeah,
I know what you mean. If somebody told us we won an award, I would be like, all right, what are you selling? What's the deal? I'm not giving my credit card number, so
yeah, I think if it hadn't come through like through the label, yeah, I probably would have just thought it was fucking spam. I remember the first time we ever got a gig offer through for playing abroad, and I was just like, fuck off, delete, that's spam. Somebody actually wants to pay us like a reasonable amount of money to do a gig. I don't fucking think so. Delete. And then they got back in touch with us again and we're like, oh, you never replied to our email. I was like, oh, right, it's not spam. I better reply to that. So yeah, I mean, sometimes you get like, there are these really nice surprises, and try not to let cynicism get in the way too much anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, it made me kind of go back and really look, because I hadn't listened to Evaporate. So I went back and then I was like looking through, because I wasn't sure, but then I was reading that it was about the winters and landscape of Iceland. Who had experiences there, and how did that come about?
Oh, well, I mean, okay, so the front cover, there's a poster behind me from that's it there. That is a mountain in Iceland, and it was taken by a good friend of mine and Lizzie's, who's from Iceland. And yeah, I mean, a lot of the influences for that album were we'd moved back to Scotland, and we were in a different part of Scotland than either of us had ever lived in before, and we did draw a lot of kind of, I suppose, inspiration, or kind of draw creatively from the landscapes around us, from our surroundings, and Iceland is quite similar in a lot of ways to the kind of more rugged parts of Scotland, and yeah, we had our Icelandic friend had a pretty horrendous bereavement, and that is reflected in the album. It's, I mean, if this is hard without Liz being here, because usually bounce off of, but yeah, I mean, it's a fucking bleak album. I mean, it's born of absolute fucking abject misery. I'm not sure, for me personally, there's not a single fucking happy note throughout that, but I can't speak for Liz, but I think, yeah, probably pretty similar. And I think, I don't know, maybe there's always something that's tinged with fucking hope, or we wouldn't still be here, would we? But yeah, the landscapes, your surroundings, and everything that kind of makes up your day-to-day existence and where you fit within everything is going to be, part of whatever you create, surely, whether it's intentional or not. So that's about the most succinct answer I can give you. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I've been to Reykjavik once, and I just remember walking around going, imagine the alcoholism here, It was so bleak, and I just, you can sort of feel it in the air.
Well, to be like, after the night, actually, the night that we won the Prog Award, the next day, I took myself off to Iceland for like a fucking Shirley Valentine holiday, for about a month, and without a jacket, I might add, which was a fucking shit idea.
Oh my.
Yeah, it was just like, I'm just gonna get a flight. I'm just gonna get a flight, go to Iceland for a bit, and yeah, that Reykjavik. I didn't spend a lot of time in Reykjavik at all, but yeah, but the fucking price of booze is outrageous. It cost me 90 quid to get 20 piss lagers, which is a fucking story. But yeah, that was like a solo thing to Iceland, and it was nice actually to kind of go back, and it felt like kind of tidy up some kind of I don't know, loose ends, I suppose, in some way. But yeah, Iceland, Scotland, misery, all goes in what? Out comes an album.
Yeah, it's so wild and different, it's so untouched, we kind of live close to a city, and sometimes I wish we did not.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said for living in a city, but I think unless you live in a city that's you can get out of it quickly. I don't know, there's loads of stuff I miss about living in a city, but at the same time, I don't know if I could do it again. Be right in the middle of it. And I suppose we're quite lucky here because of the way that because of our geography, you can get out of Glasgow fairly quickly. You could probably run out of it if you had to.
Yes, you could.
Yeah.
I got to ask you the question I ask every Scottish band we interview. Who gets
Right.
to claim AC/DC? Are they Australian or are they Scottish?
Well, there's a fucking statue in Kerrymuir, so
There you go. Good answer. Yeah.
So I really, after listening to you, I mean, I can, have Spotify on generate, and I know the minute you guys come on because you have such a signature sound. It's kind of like when I kind of got into Matter Mortem, their sound is also so signature,
Very distinct.
And then I ran into your covers EP. And I thought, how are they going to Midas Fall dancing in the dark and Creep? But you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I especially loved Creep.
That turned out great.
Yeah. How did you go about picking the songs that would be on that? Or
very brave to go after a Tom York song, I think.
Yeah.
That man's voice is a weapon,
Yeah.
He's kind of like Chris Cornell,
I mean, see, to be honest, like it was kind of like it was pretty much just like a way of keeping ourselves occupied during lockdown, to be honest. I think Liz and Rowan, like between them, had like some, old sort of unfinished demos or things that they started or had been working on for a while that were just kind of rattling around. And the way that when lockdown was happening, it sort of, made making an album just a little bit slower than normally would have, because you can't kind of do the things that we normally can, and the world was on fire and so on. So I think we were just it was just something that we were able to do remotely, to be honest, like to kind of break up the process of working on the album. And I mean, for my part, I basically just got sent sort of these ideas in some kind of basic form. Some were more developed than others, and yeah, I just got asked to put some bass to it and anything else that I wanted to. And then I just kind of, it was just one of those little, it's so difficult to answer, but because it was in the midst of lockdown that we made them, it's just, I have quite a hard time remembering it. Because like everybody else, we were in just survival mode and nobody knew which way was up and so on. So it was, I don't know, it was, I just kind of it was just a way to break up the album cycle, to be honest. And just sort of, I think we kind of knew the album was like maybe taking a while again because of lockdown and so on. Like it wasn't because we were running out of ideas or didn't know what we wanted to do with the album or anything. I think it was just, things took a while because of the way things were. So it was, I think it was just a way of being able to just sort of remind people that we are actually, still a thing and still alive, and then, try and whet people's appetite a little bit. But yeah, it was cool. And it was just nice being able to, well, I think another reason as well was, you could probably hear quite a difference in sound between Evaporate and Cold Wave Dividers in lots of ways. And obviously I wasn't here for the last album, but I was here for Cold Waves Dividers. So I think it was also a way for me to sort of just show Liz and Rowan like what I could maybe do other than just play bass, which up until that point was all I'd really done for the band. I hadn't been involved in anything like creatively. So yeah, I think it was just a way for me to show what I could do on the sort of production side and maybe what else I could bring to the table. And in some ways, maybe that sort of influenced how the album was developed in terms of, what I was able to do for my part, other than just play bass. So, but yeah, the covers EP was, it was cool. I liked it.
Neat the way you. I hate covers that sound exactly the same as the original. I'm like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
It's like, I just don't get it. But
I think
you guys
as well,
totally ripped it apart and put it back. I love it.
No, thank you very much, guys. We appreciate that.
God, I'm thinking about during lockdown. I remember Metallica did a acoustic version of Blackened, and then they did like a country version of No Remorse. I was like, congratulations, you've made lockdown worse.
Yeah, you somehow done it.
Who's giving you advice? Nobody wants to hear this stuff,
Yeah. I think for me as well. So I used to play, not anymore, but I used to play in a wedding band. That was like my kind of full-time gig for a while, and to do that full time, you have to play a lot of weddings, and it takes its toll. It ruins a lot of songs for you. And Dancing in the Dark is one of them, and so is Creep. Very like good songs, but very popular songs. So yeah, I think that was what I liked about it. When I got the demos over, I was like, oh, I know these songs, but they are so different from the originals. That I sort of I don't know. It was.
Do you get asked to play them a lot at weddings, Creep and
Oh
Dancing?
God, yeah. Which I think the irony is lost on people about the lyrical content of being tired and bored with yourself. I mean, while I'm on stage, just dead behind the eyes. But I now have a job that I really like, so it's okay. But just it was a nice way for me to sort of I guess just enjoy those songs again. So
coming up to Cold Waves Divide Us, I love that crazy album cover with the humongous jellyfish. Who kind of got the idea that should be the cover? It's very luminescent.
Yeah.
Oh, it was actually from an old drummer of ours, Pedro Stephen Pedro Pilat. He played drums with us on the As Our Blood Separates EP, the Fluorescent Lights EP, Wilderness, and the Menagerie albums. So we saw this for quite a while, and then when we moved back to Scotland, he stayed down in the northwest of England, but he did a lot of work as a graphic designer and stuff. So he got in touch around when, I can't remember now, because Liz was saying, oh, Pedro's message, and I hadn't seen it. And anyway, yeah, he got in touch and we just kind of got chatting, and he had some really nice ideas for the art. So jellyfish,
I don't really know where the jellyfish came from.
I don't know. I remember.
I think it was just
I remember when Liz first sort of showed me some of the kind of mock-ups or like ideas or whatever that Pedro had come up with, and they were all really good. I really liked the jellyfish, despite the fact that at the time they were the bane of my fucking life because they were all over the bay here. And trying to fucking jellyfish is a pain in the arse. So yeah, at that point I was like, I don't want to see any more fucking jellyfish. But I really love the art, and I think he's made a fantastic job of it. Really love it.
Yeah, because I don't think any of us specifically asked for a jellyfish, or even like I don't know what kind of direction Pedro had. I think he just kind of gave us that, and then once we saw it, we were like, "Oh, this is cool! Like, I like this." So weird.
I don't know. Maybe Liz suggested a jellyfish. I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, it fits because, like, where we are, our ocean, and if you go north, it always seems like there's tons of jellyfish because it's colder. But if you go like to South Carolina where it's warm all the time, no jellyfish.
Really?
Yeah, I prefer that beach down there.
Yeah, I was going to say there'll be.
I didn't realize that. You're
right. Yeah. Although I haven't
people
seen here yet. Just as an aside.
Yeah, people.
This lady I work with, she was swimming. She was in Europe on vacation, and she got stung by jellyfish, and her one toe turned black. And yeah, her toe turned black from it. And I remember I was dying for her to come back because I was like, "Do you still have 10 toes?" Like I was dying. And they saved it. So then, like every time I'd see her, if she was having a bad day, I'd say, "Hey, at least you got 10 toes,"
That's true. I'm going to tell myself that. Like, at least I have 10 toes, no matter how bad things get.
It's the little things. Yeah.
So, Michael, you seem to have kind of seamlessly joined this previous duo. And it seems like you guys have kind of meshed. Was it easy for you to kind of fall into this band and kind of become the third leg on the stool?
I think so. Yeah. I think when I got the offer to play with the guys, like I was already been like I was already a fan of the band for one thing, and I was already like playing this kind of music, and also I was also trying to make this kind of music like by myself, just as like a kind of solo thing. But then when I heard Midas Fall, I was like, oh wow, like this is what Liz and Rowan are able to produce together is like so much bigger and better than anything I could do myself. So I think just the idea, I understood what they were doing, and I think just the idea of being able to be a part of something that, you know, could mean that the thing that I was trying to do could turn into something, I could like put that into something bigger than what I'd be able to do by myself. I think that's what kind of motivated me. And yeah, I think it was just, you know, I think we just get along well, to be honest. Like,
It's important.
I think that we were talking about this on tour quite a lot, and just because we recently a friend of mine kind of stepped in to start playing drums for us, and you know the tour had this kind of ups and downs, and just shit went wrong at every possible turn, and things were breaking, and like, you know, it was pretty hard at points, but it's very much like just like that's just DIY touring for you, you know.
Right.
Like I think so there's so many musicians out there that would be like, oh my god, I'm not doing that again, because they just can't hack that sort of, don't know, that really often romanticized kind of DIY part of touring, whereas I'd done that a bunch before. And so when I was doing it with them, or the prospect of doing it with them, it was fine, you know. I wasn't ever, there were no tantrums from me because I was like expected to be treated better, or like, oh, I'm uncomfortable, or I'm tired, or I'm this and I'm that. Like, you know, Liz and Rowan have done it long enough that they know the score and they just fucking get on with it. And so did I, even though I hadn't done it with them up till that point. So I think, yeah, we were just always on the same page in that respect.
Yeah.
Even before, you know, I think there are people that who like, you know, are probably better than me at playing bass, or like better than me at like, you know, doing synths or whatever. But I think that's the important stuff to survive in a band, is just being able to sort of spend a lot of time with each other without falling out. It's just,
Right.
and I think that's what I was able to do, just because we, you know, we got along so well, I think. So
I think
Yeah,
it's
you can
possible.
really see the chemistry you guys have in like your Instagram posts and stuff. It comes through for sure.
oh, thank you. Yeah, it's okay, it's nice. I really like you know, it's even playing live is always when it like really comes together for me. Just like, I don't know, I've played so many gigs with that I've just kind of showed up and done the job and got paid and left, but just every single gig, no matter what happens before it, or how difficult things were, or like everything that went wrong or whatever, I think every time I go on stage with like Liz and Rowan and like Callum now, it just feels like, I don't know. It just feels, I just feel like I'm a part of something bigger than myself, and that's just a feeling that all musicians really want, I think. And it's, I don't know. Every single time I play a gig with those guys, I always get that feeling, and that's what keeps me around, I think.
It's a really nice mix or fit, or whatever the whatever the fuck I'm trying to say. It fits now, and I don't feel like in the past like anything has clicked quite as well, or has felt as, I suppose, natural and easy to just do what we're doing. And you know, I don't think the value of that can be overstated. So yeah, it's very lovely having you with us, Michael. And
It's lovely having you.
the tour we just did there, yeah, it was a fucking nightmare from beginning to end. But it was all external stuff. It was nothing to do with, you know, it was not like fuck all to do with anything within band dynamics, or you know, with any of the very well organized shows. It was, you know, it was all just fucking shit going on in the background, and things breaking, amps breaking, fucking strings breaking. So I've not broken a string in fucking years. Boom. You know, shit like that. And it's like, I think there seems to be like a kind of a good understanding that, you know, it's all right for everybody to have, if they need it, their fucking Wingstop girl moment, and you know, but it'll be fine after that, you know.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah, you're a very level-headed, calming influence, I think, when things are really, really fucking difficult, like when it's just like, how do we fix this problem? When we might just be kind of losing our shit with it.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's really good. It's a really nice, really comfortable mix of people now, and I could not be happier with how things are.
It definitely shows. And
Well,
we
thanks,
had a
pal.
few track questions about this album.
Okay.
So, am I wrong? This seemed to me, after listening to the other, it's a very angry song for Midas Fall. Really.
Oh yeah.
Is it kind of about like a toxic relationship, and do you know if it was based on like a real event or art, or kind of a blending of everything?
Well,
Oh God, lyric questions.
I mean, like Liz does the lyrics. Some of the titles for the tracks are working titles that I've written, and then Liz has written lyrics around that. But yeah, the singing stuff, that's Liz. So I couldn't speak to, you know, necessarily where she's coming from with that, but yeah, I am wrong. The music for that, it stemmed from an idea. Oh fuck, it was a long time ago actually. It's been floating around. And
Yeah.
in a really fucking angry, pissed off place. Yeah, I think I was fucking raging when I started that song. And so it shows. But you know, again, it's like the way things work, you know, come up with an idea and then it'll get kind of passed around, and you know, sometimes it'll become a song and sometimes it'll just go in the fucking bin, and that's fine. So this one floated around for a wee bit and stayed angry, but
Yeah.
I think got
I think I remember I remember like because I don't know how sort of I can't really remember how fleshed out it was by the time I heard it. But like even if in its most like kind of primitive form before I ever like, you know, did my parts, it still had that I don't know. I feel like yeah, it just had this energy to it, and that I just hadn't. I don't know. I hadn't heard in any other Midas Fall songs at that point, or like even in a lot of sort of like our contemporaries, I guess. It had this sort of urgency and aggressiveness to it, and I remember like yeah, just like immediately, you know, immediately sort of being like, oh, that's like I see the potential in that. Like that's gonna be great when it's done. And yeah, it was really cool because it was like I think it was quite a basic sort of primitive idea by the time I did it, and then by the time I heard it, and then I did like my bass parts and you know, it maybe some like synths or whatever. I can't remember, but then I sort of sent it back to Liz and Rowan, kind of forgot about it, and then got it back again, and it just sounded.
It's got
basically they started something, I took it and ran with it. I gave it back to them. They took what I did and ran with it even further, and it's just this sort of feedback loop that the emotion was clear from the beginning, but it just got bigger and bigger and bigger and more extreme as we in quite an organic way, even though we were doing it by like in quite a digital sort of sterile way, that there was still had this kind of organic development to it that I really, really liked. And I think that's the same for all the album, for most of the album tracks, to be honest. Just had to adapt to working remotely like the rest of the world, you know. So I think that's what it was. But yeah, I love that. I love that song. It's really there's a point where like I think there's pretty much like well the bit at the end where it's just like Liz is like, you know, sort of like wailing and like Rowan and I are just basically hitting the lowest open strings on our like new toys at that point, essentially. Because
Yeah.
I think that was
Yeah.
It was like Rowan had her new baritone guitar. I had my new 5-string bass, and like it was just like I don't know. I always look forward to that part of the song and that part of the set because it's just don't know. It just has this gravitas to it that it's just quite special. I don't know. I'm struggling to articulate exactly, but yeah, you clearly picked up on it too, which is nice. So thank you.
How did the video come about? Like it was that I guess it's in an actual train station or subway.
Yeah, it's like an underpass or like a tunnel in Glasgow, or several tunnels actually. Yeah, the video came about basically. The album was done, and we were deciding on like singles to put out and stuff like that. And the label basically said, right, you have this budget, and we need 3 videos. So we had to sort of like, and it was a lot of money. It was a very generous amount of money, but also we still had to put quite a lot of thought into making the most of that money. Yeah, like so we did that, and then basically the guy that directed it was a guy that I also like do film scoring as well, and I did the music for his first feature film that came out last year called The Labyrinth, and the director Stephen Alexander we just kind of help each other out with work whenever we can. So he also took our pictures that you'll have seen in like the press shots and stuff like that. And yeah, it just came. We were just like, right, who do I know that can do a lot with a little? Because I know from working on The Labyrinth, the feature film, that was totally self-funded. It was like less than £2,000, and he managed to make a feature film just by knowing the layout of Glasgow and been able to work with it so well. And I was like, right, that's what we need. So I just asked him to help us out with the music video. And I knew that Amber, who's the lead woman in it, was also the lead woman in that feature film. She is an incredible actor, but is actually like a dancer by trade. So I was like, oh, okay, that can be another quite compelling way to make something quite compelling without having to spend a lot of money on it. So I think it just kind of came from like, yeah, so I had like, we asked those guys to be involved, and thankfully they said yes. And then the bands then had to try and come up with like, right, okay, what idea can we do that's not going to be a lot of money? Something that doesn't involve lights, something that doesn't involve a big crew, something that doesn't involve like all this sort of stuff. And I'm from Glasgow, and I knew Stephen. Stephen's really good. Like I said, I knew Stephen knows how to like just make Glasgow seem like this otherworldly sort of fictitious place, like Gotham, or something like that.
Right.
And I was just thinking, Rowan and I are like really into like our horror films and stuff like that. So I just started thinking of like, right, well, what films do I like that I know didn't have a lot of budget, but were still able to make these like incredible like otherworldly scenes. So we were thinking of a lot of like giallo films, and also Possession came to mind, which absolutely hellscape of a film, but had virtually no budget, and people are still talking about it today. So I think we were just kind of borrowing ideas from that sort of approach to kind of DIY filmmaking. Again, very much in line with our ethos as a band of just DIY touring, self-producing, self-writing, self-recording all of our albums. And we were like, well, we managed to make it work in every other respect. So, surely a video should be no different. And yeah, it was basically just trying to copy what every other kind of DIY artist has ever done in our own kind of way. And yeah, it ended up looking like the I Am Wrong video.
Yeah, it was really, really well done. The other one that really got us was the Cool Waves Divide Us video.
All right, yeah. All right. So
Oh my
yeah,
Lord.
on that one, right? She's never done mushrooms. So I told her, now that you've seen that video, you don't need to.
No, you really
there
don't.
It is.
Yeah. I can see with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi. The Cold Waves, I was really happy with how the Cold Waves video came out. That was yeah.
Yeah, that was another again, we were just sort of like talking to our record label, and we're just sort of brainstorming of like, right, okay, how can we get 3 videos out of this like quite limited budget? And she was talking and she just mentioned this artist, as in like music artist, who I think is also on Monotream, but they have like a project, it's this like weird sort of experimental ambient or like experimental kind of generative music thing. I forget the name of the project, that's really bad. But as part of that project, I think he also does these sort of visuals that are generated the same way you as part along with the music kind of thing. Like it's the sort of thing like people will watch that video and just think like, oh, it's just more like AI schlock, and it's like, well, no, it's not. Like it was, it was sort of made in turn by an artist who is
Yeah,
experimented with like generative music. So, and that's something I'm really interested in. So, I think it was just a recommendation of like, yeah, this guy's really good at making a lot from nothing. So we just kind of asked Kim, the head of Monotream, to just put us in touch, and I think we basically just sent him the music and was just like, well, what do you think would work? And he sort of went along. It went down that path of that narrative path that ended up being in a music video. Like, yeah, there was a few iterations, but there was never. It was always headed in that direction right from the concept. There was never any massive overhauls or anything. It was always sort of the visuals were always kind of along those lines as they ended up, which is pretty cool. Again, very organic, I really like that, just giving the music to people and just being like, well, what do you think? What does it make you think of? And that's clearly where it took him, which is cool. So yeah.
Yeah, it was neat how like the movement of the music went with the movement of the visuals. So it's really quite effectual.
Yes,
So-
very mushroom-esque. I think we'll all agree.
Fun fact, Salt was written on mushrooms. That's
Was
the
it?
only- Yeah. I fucking bagged a load of mushrooms and went around the forest and worked my way through Evaporate, and then felt like I'd come out the other side of it, and then wrote Salt.
Ah.
That's how Salt was born. It was tripping out my fucking nut.
Okay.
Is it Longview by Green Day? Wasn't like the intro to that, wasn't like Mike Dirnt on like acid or something? And they like couldn't. I think there's like some story where like I think he wrote it when he was on acid or mushrooms or something like that, and he couldn't like he had to basically take it again to remember
Oh my God.
what it was. I don't know if that's just like urban myth or not, but it's cool. It's cool to believe, so I'm going to believe it. Or it's a cool story to believe, so I'm going to believe it.
I think that probably is quite believable because see that like not the main guitar line, but a lot of the fucking background guitar stuff, that was all the original recording because I didn't have a fucking clue how I'd done it. Stayed on there, and thankfully they're just kind of soundscapey things, so they don't need to be recreated in a live environment. They can just stay there.
So do you just need to take mushrooms before you go on stage, and then you won't need all the cues anymore? Is that?
Oh my God! Imagine it would be fucking terrible. Like,
oh. Yeah,
And-
just spend the whole time just looking at the back of your hands, like.
Yeah.
Or if that string broke, you just look at that. Huh?
Yeah.
When I was in high school, we used to think that you couldn't trip 2 days in a row. And then we met this guy that was into the Grateful Dead, and he said, all you got to do is double the dose.
Yeah.
But that created a whole new set of problems because you're exponentially doubling. Yeah. So that was bad advice, actually. So, yeah.
Of course, it's the Grateful Dead guy tells you how to trip for 2 days.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a really weird guy. He was a guy like we would go to lunch and he would eat everything, like anything we didn't finish, he would eat. It was just, he was so gross. It was just kind of, yeah. Just feed him here. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. Anyway.
So also, I did like a different approach you took for In the Morning Will Be Someone Else, where it was like a studio recording. Is that kind of what it looks like when you're recording, or was that specifically done for that video?
Oh, the live session.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's yeah. Well, I get it's kind of funny because like, well, this is my first album that I've worked with the band, and it was through COVID, so we did the whole album remotely, basically. I think Liz and Rowan went back and forth a bit more because they live closer to each other than I do to either of them. But it's weird. It's like, even though I've worked on one album with the band now, and like, the EP, I don't know, because it was under such weird circumstances. I don't know how normal that process is. Like, I don't know. Maybe the next album will be more like that, because hopefully we won't have a pandemic to like worry about. But I don't know. But no, for that video, we basically just it was more inspired by how we play live than how the track was recorded in the first place. Even though it's in a room and it's not on a stage and stuff like that, I think we very much just approached it of, right, we'll just do it like we're at a gig, rather than, oh, okay, we need to remember how we made this in the first place so we could do that again. Like,
I mean, it's
and
not
that's
like,
something. Oh, you go.
I
Sorry.
wouldn't say it's totally faithful to how we would necessarily play at a show. I think.
Yeah.
Feel like a bit of a tit, kind of pumping around and doing the things you do. You get lost in a live show.
Yes.
But it's good to have like videos to be like, we can actually play these songs.
Yeah. I think Liz and me and Rowan are usually much more animated on stage than we are in that video. Yeah, so because we were all tethered by headphones and cables and stuff like that, so the sound is very much there, but in terms of how we are as performers, very different.
Yeah.
But usually Rowan and I are like dripping in sweat and like about to fucking collapse when we come off stage.
All right, so we have a game that we play. Normally, if it's one person, we'll do 5 random questions, but since it's 2 of you, we'll do 3 each.
Okay,
I don't know why the lesbian bed death thought this was terrifying, she said, but it's really not that scary.
Seconds, I'm just going to go and put this lamp on because I'm aware it's like fucking vampire dark in here.
Yeah, looking forward to the game.
Okay.
All right.
So there's 100 questions. There's 100 questions. So each of you pick 3 numbers between 1 and 100.
Okay. You want to go first, Ryan?
3 numbers. Any number between 1 and 100.
Right. Right.
All right. 55.
All right. 2 more.
2.
Oh fuck. Right. 27 and 33.
You said 27 and 33?
Yeah.
Okay.
55, 27, 33. I'm going to go with
Michael, give me 3 numbers.
Oh, my turn. 7, 35, 74. Like numbers. What numbers do I know?
All right. We'll start with Rowan. You picked 55. Name a person you would love to see in the audience at your show. Could be alive or dead.
Fuck. Shit. I've got no fucking idea. Usually it's just anybody that wants to be there. It's like, you're coming. I don't know. I think if I really wanted anybody to be there in particular, I'd shit myself and fuck it up. Fuck knows. Maybe just probably just my sister. Like, fucking get out the house for a night. Come on.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, my sister.
Can I grab this one?
Yeah, this is a good time.
Right. Hold on. Speaking of technical difficulties, we need to grab a plug.
I gotta grab a plug.
It's all good. Don't worry about it.
All right. So we'll keep on going. Number 27. If you founded your own country, what would you name it?
If I had my own country. the Independent Republic of Fuck You.
If I were to guess what Rowan would call her own country, I think that's pretty much exactly what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Democratic Republic of Go Fuck Yourself.
Yeah.
All right, number 33. What quality is a complete deal breaker when you're dating someone?
I think I'm the fucking deal breaker.
Come on.
I wish somebody would tell me. So stop fucking doing it. I don't know. Oh fuck. Manky fingernails. That's fucking rank. No excuse at all.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, sometimes you don't know stuff about it until you date someone. But I dated this guy for a long time. And then when I knew he played online video games. When we finally moved in together, I didn't realize he would play them till like 3 a.m. From like 6, I was like, oh, no. This is ridiculous.
That's kind of, that's definitely not honesty. Oh yeah, I enjoy playing computer games. That's beyond that. But
I was like, are you gonna come to bed? He's like, no, I gotta be in a dungeon. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I can't pause the game.
Well, they play online with all their friends, and they're all there. I'm just like, I can't do this.
When I was a boy, it was the arcade games was all there was, and you had your top score. You could only put your initials in.
Yes,
we knew each other's initials in the neighborhood, so I would be like, I would see like RYN. I'd be like, fucking Robert. And then the greatest joy would be I'd spend all afternoon in the sub shop playing Galaga and getting my initials back up top. And then in class, I'd be like, might want to go check out that Galaga after school.
God,
that's how old school I am.
Well, I can understand that because like you are having to go out and participate in the real fucking world to go and access a machine. But I don't really get the whole, holding yourself up and disconnecting.
Yeah, it's totally different now.
In reality, I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't like that. I could probably tolerate it, but if they were sitting there with a fucking control pad glued to their fingers and they had manky fingernails, that would be like nah, fuck that, out.
Well, plus we would do anything to rag on each other back then. Anything. There was nothing better than just poking at each other and starting shit. So
Michael,
good answer,
number 7. What is the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
Practice my Japanese, as Rowan will know.
I didn't see that one coming at all.
Whoa.
Yeah, I've got a cool 90-day streak on Duolingo. I'm killing it.
Well done.
Kept it up all through tour. Yes, I have a coffee and I will practice my Japanese.
Now, are you learning to write it too, or just speak it?
Okay, yeah, I'm learning to write it, but I'm terrible at it. It's mostly listening and mostly listening and speaking. But
is it really all pictures, or is there a limit to the letters, or like?
So there's 3 different alphabets.
Oh my
which
god!
Is mad. So like there's hiragana, which is like the most common one, which is like phonetic. Like they're like syllables that they're like syllables that you join together to make words. And there is katanika, which is the same idea, but it's for like Romanized words, like borrowed words from like other languages. They'll spell them out using katanika, which is a lot simpler. It's a lot more basic looking. And then there's kanji, which is like the picture one, where there are like every word has its own unique combination of squiggles, which I've not even started with that yet. But I think I think I've not really given it too much time because I know that it's not that I'm not trying to read it. And also,
Yeah,
I've been
yeah,
to Japan a
yeah.
few times, and it's like you can read everything that you need to read is at least romanized. So even if it's being able to understand what people are saying and having a conversation is so much more important.
Yeah.
And it's funny actually because like from reading like a lot of Japanese books and stuff like that, or like Japanese like literature, there'll be a lot of it's still quite common that like you won't necessarily know. There's still a lot of people that can't read that much kanji, for example, even like native Japanese people. It's weird. I'm still trying to figure out what the kind of deal is with it. But hiragana is the most common one that you'll see.
The kanji's for if you're training karate students in your backyard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Kanji's just for writing like for me, I don't know if you've got my favorite thing in the world is for when people take like really on the nose like just really mundane English words for things or really uninspired names for things, but then make it cool by translating it to Japanese. Like the best example being the best example being you were talking about video games. You remember the video game Tekken?
Yeah.
Right, so there's a bear in it that you can like play as, and the
Yeah.
bear is called Kuma.
Yeah.
Do you know what the Japanese word for bear is?
No.
Kuma. So the bear is just called bear.
My.
But you think
That's
you don't
great.
think you don't think twice about it because you're like, oh, Kuma, oh, that Kuma the bear. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
it's Bear the bear. Like that's what he's
Yeah.
called.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I ended up getting a degree in German when I was in school, and
Nice
there's
one, man.
certain words that just you can't really translate them into English. Like I love the word Varschlappen, which is like something that
Oh.
you'd call like the wife would call the husband as like a dig. It literally means you're a dish rag.
There's a lot of things like that in German.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's really cool.
Another good word is Vernichtung, which is to destroy, but in German it literally means to make into nothing, which I always thought that was a really cool word. I picture like the
Yeah,
atomic
I've
bomb
always
or
loved how
something.
literal the German language is.
Very literal, yeah. Very
Yeah,
literal.
it's great.
Yeah, my high school teacher used to call us Dummkopfchen, my little Dummkopfchens, right? And we didn't know. And then in college one day, it just hit me. I was like, she was calling us little shitheads.
But she
We
did it
just
so
accepted it.
affectionately. Yeah.
Sounded so affectionate.
It was like my little shitheads, you know.
Oh, what is it? Dummkopfchen.
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 She threw
Yeah.
shin on the end, you know.
Like
Right.
Liebchen.
Like Liebchen. And then
Ah,
everything was
right.
okay, right? My little Dummkopfchen.
How many
Whatever.
years that? That's great. Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
All right, number 35. What is the farthest distance you have ever run?
I did a 10K once, so probably that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate running though. I love cycling. I do that all the time, so I can cycle like for forever and not get
Yeah,
bored
yeah.
of it. But running fucking sucks. I hate it. Like I like to stay fit and stuff like that, but I just cannot get into running. But cycling, yeah, it's cool.
I always used to run out by this reservoir by us they close it to traffic, and of course there's all kinds of people. But I noticed most of the guys were on bikes, most of the women were running. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? Because they need a machine to exercise, and we are the machine.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, that's funny.
Little bicycling humor. All right, 74. How long would you survive in a zombie apocalypse?
Right. Oh god, this is when I act like, oh, I've got it all figured out, and then you immediately poke holes in like all my plans. I'd like to think, right, in zombie films, there's like one of the reasons why they all do so poorly is because zombie films don't exist in the universe of zombies films, right? You know, like
Yeah.
if they had seen Night of the Living Dead in Night of the Living Dead, they probably would have been a little bit better because they were like, I know what to do. So I'd like to think that, like, because I have watched a lot of zombie films as a like lover of all things horror, I would like to think I would do at least better than the people in zombie films, purely by virtue of that. The fact I've at least seen a zombie film.
Right.
So how long would I last? Let's
Fucking no time in the centre of Glasgow, you'd be fucked.
That's true, yeah. If we're talking about right now, I'd be pretty fucked. Yeah. If I could get out of Glasgow into like somewhere a bit more remote, which isn't that far, but yeah, if I'm overrun, but I mean, to be fair, no, I would do fucking amazing because I've seen zombie films and I also work in a music shop in like one of the roughest parts of Glasgow. So I see zombies daily. It's like coming in and out of the shop. So fucking that's just another Tuesday, man. I'd be fine. I would last forever. I've been dealing with a zombie apocalypse since I started this job.
Yeah, I worked at a music store in my 20s, and I would help repair band instruments, and I was amazed at how these parents let these kids destroy these instruments that they've rented. Like I'd open up the clarinet case, and it was like they had been fighting with swords. All the buttons were broken off of it and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just remember being like, you just let the kids beat each other senseless with trumpets. I mean, what are you doing? You know, like.
It's funny. Well, for me, like, so I work for Roland, but I work like inside a music shop, so I'm like their representative in there. So I'm in charge of like all the synthesizers and drum machines and stuff like that. So, and and also digital pianos. So there are lots of well-to-do people that come in and want to spend like 10 grand on a grand piano for their new living room or whatever. Not from Glasgow. That's like once every 6 months that'll happen. Okay. But my daily is mostly just like people coming in, like, like haven't been to bed yet. They've been up for 3 days, like partying, and they're like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna come in and make some techno." Like, oh, like, and they want me to sell them a drum machine. I'm like, dude, you don't even know what planet you're on. Like, never mind, start making techno. Come on, man. So yeah,
Is it really like that? I never thought it was like that fucking nuts. I didn't even think
it was
rough. Is it
that's
rough?
Trongate, baby. That's.
I thought it was nice.
No, it's okay. It's just like it's a bit. It's right next to the East End. It's not exactly.
Yeah.
It's it's not. It's pretty rough at points. Like it's kind of at the border of civilization. Like any more east, you're into like Barra's territory.
Yeah, which is a lot of fun, I have to say.
Yeah, that's true.
In and out of Glasgow, but I don't live there, so I don't have to tolerate whatever nonsense you've got to put up with on a daily basis.
Exactly. I would be fine.
It's funny, like when you were saying about going somewhere more remote, because honestly, I think at the beginning of the pandemic, I think a lot of people treated it like it was a fucking zombie apocalypse, because the amount of fucking camper vans that showed up here, and they were all told to get the fuck. It was like, no, get fucking go home, right? No, you can't just come here. We've got fuck all as it is. Boost. That was kind of the approach to the Scottish government at the time. They're like, nah, fuck off. Back to where you're from. There's no.
Wow. I didn't know that. They wanted you to all get in in buses and stuff?
No. Like when we were about to lock down, and I'm talking like a couple of days before, like, because I live fucking in the middle of nowhere, and Liz even more so. That like all these fucking camper vans appeared, and it was people coming from densely populated areas.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay.
We'll go somewhere fucking remote, and we'll not get the fucking zombie apocalypse treatment.
Aye.
Like, nah,
But-
fuck off.
Wow.
But
Right.
they were the zombies.
Yeah, it's
That's
like, get away. You've just come from the city. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Right? We don't have enough facilities here to cope with all your pish. Beat it.
Yeah.
So, but I have to say, being up here through the like fucking pandemic and looking out there, and it's like that's not a zombie apocalypse at all. It was fucking business as usual, because there was nobody coming in. It's all very much self-contained. But yeah, that just kind of reminded me when you were saying about going somewhere more remote. I was like, yeah, everybody else had that fucking idea.
Don't come here. Right. Don't come here.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I was working in a restaurant, and of course we could only do carry out, so they would call in and they'd let us know, we'd run it out to the car. And we were even selling, because we had draft beer that was going to go bad. So we would sell draft beer in like a big soup container, and these two guys came in, they're like, can we drink it in the parking lot? I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, they did that in Glasgow too. Yeah, they would you could go to a bar. The bars were open, but you couldn't go inside or stay inside. But you could go in, buy the thing, and come back out. But it's also very it's illegal to like drink in the streets in Scotland, and they're quite hard line about it.
Yeah.
But it was just like pretty laissez-faire for that sort of
It's
that
the same way
weird
here,
time.
but nobody cared. The laws of society no longer applied.
Yeah, that was it. Law of the jungle, man. That was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'd be fine. Is my answer.
So Midas Falls has such a big cinematic feel to it, and I believe I read somewhere that it was in a documentary as part of the soundtrack. Are you in any other like a movie or video games approached you to have be in there? Because that'd be a great idea.
It would be a good idea, wouldn't it? It'd be nice to be fucking pension. But no. And it wasn't a documentary. It was a BBC TV program that was on quite a long time ago. And I mean that was cool. That was great. But yeah, it'd be really lovely to have some of our music used for, like movies, documentaries, whatever. That would be cool. But I'm aware that there is just so much competition when it comes to music syncing, and it's really, really hard to get a break in that kind of way. And I guess I don't know, I think some of it is just fucking luck, like somebody that's in a position where they are, tasked with putting a soundtrack to a movie or a TV show or whatever, and they hear your song and they think it's right for that. I mean, it's like, how much fucking stuff has to align for that to actually happen? A lot of fucking.
I think you guys should have be on the opening credits for the next James Bond movie.
That'd be great.
That would fit.
Yeah,
I like it.
Wow. That would be like the most depressing James Bond film ever.
Get Taylor Swift to sing. Yeah. Something,
I mean, Skyfall was da-da,
Yeah.
So.
That's true.
It was
Maybe
Adele.
that's what
it was Adele. That's right. Yeah.
Maybe we need to cover that Adele track and be like, look, see?
Yeah, exactly.
See?
You hear your cover of Radiohead, Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, here, Jack White can do it. It's not Chris Cornell can do it. It's not out with the realm of possibility. But
someone called us once the White Stripes of podcasting. So I was like, I'll take it. Whatever.
But we're not divorced.
Whatever. Yeah. So,
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of when we did the first album and we were getting reviews for that, and it was just like we were just getting compared to anybody that had a female singer.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That's a cop out. A lot of reviewers.
Yeah.
It's just fucking lazy. But fair enough, whatever. I think people see what's in front of them and sometimes don't necessarily go too far beyond that.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I guess it's some of the comparisons are so weird, but it's like, I don't know, it's just it's I don't know, even before joining Midas Fall, it always really fucking bugged me how every guitar, every band with a guitar and a woman singing was just Paramore, or if they were goths, they were Evanescence, it was you know, it was there are two archetypes for bands with female vocalists, and is one of those. Like, come on, like it's so fucking stupid.
Evanescence thing that used to absolutely do Liz's fucking head in, and it was like,
Aye.
like she was like, for fuck's sake, with nothing fucking like Evanescence. Like, I know. You'd never hear nautical song on an Evanescence album, would you? Would you? Fuck.
But I keep saying though, we need to get a rapper. Like we need to. We need. Man, talking about syncing, we need a rap bridge. Then we'll be in the new Daredevil movie, and it'll be fine. Worked for Evanescence.
I was at a bar with some friends one night, and we were talking about music reviews, like what are the worst music reviews, and what are the worst things they do, like writing overlong sentences, using 50-cent words that nobody wants to hear, bad comparisons. Anyway, I started like writing them down on a napkin, and then I went and wrote a review where I had all of it in.
Oh,
I was so proud of it. I was like, this has
that.
every bad thing we talked about in this review. So
yeah,
name dropping and pretentious, and so I was very proud of it.
We had a really scathing review of Evaporate, but I think I started talking to you about this when we were on tour. But it was so well written, and it was really fucking funny. And it was like, like if I heard this coming on in a nightclub, I'd immediately go and fucking kill myself.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, 10 out of 10. Great, that's exactly what we want.
No, it was much like it was far more eloquently written than that, and there's some you'll see it on our Twitter feed if you go quite far down it probably, and it was like all like fucking new agey bullshit, and it was just so funny that when it comes to where you put all your good bits, all your reviews together for all your press fucking stuff, I was like, that needs to go in there because it's brilliant. It's really funny. I mean, she hated it.
Yeah, if you can write, I agree. If a reviewer can write really well, I can 180 degrees disagree with them, but I'll still read it because it's entertaining. But on the other hand, there's a writer at Cream Magazine. I won't say who he is, but I hate him. I hate the way he writes. He does everything that I hate, right? So I wrote, I send them mails, and I said, like last week, I sent them Cream a message, and I said, if the only options in life were reading Zach's reviews and watching my toenails grow, I would be wearing sandals right now. So I'm hoping that they publish that, So
I think though, like it's there's definitely something to be said for like finding finding like joy and those kinds of things, because it's like, especially like, see when people are just like, it's just so fucking hyperbolic, when like, even if you don't like the Midas Fall's music, like, sure, okay, like, if someone is like, you know what, it's just not for me, like, I'd be like, okay, that's cool, like, I can understand it's not for everybody, like, that's totally fine. But it's when people are like, I detest this. When they get so fucking eloquent and is like, I would rather do this than listen to your band and do this, that, the next thing. I'm like, I feel like I'm like, there's so much more baggage here than just a song you didn't like.
It's their problem. This is their issue, not your issue. It's their issue.
That's just how those kind of reviews come off to me, and it is just like, as someone, it always seems a bit unhinged, and I think that's why I find it so funny, because I'm like, if someone's like, it was boring, or like, I don't know, I don't really like it that much.
See, I grew up reading Kerrang, so I felt like that was like the best. So I hate everybody else. Like, I can still read like those guys when they review stuff, but I've never liked American writers and reviewers. I just think they suck compared to the Kerrang guys. Got it done right, and they still are largely. So I feel.
Like, even things like Pitchfork and stuff like that. Like, it's good for like, I like to, well, not so much Pitchfork anymore, but like,
well, a lot of the Pitchfork guys went to Cream, so Cream is like the new Pitchfork. Like this dipshit Zachary, he's a Pitchfork guy. That's why I fucking hate him. So
I won't name names. This dipshit Zachary.
Oh, what the hell?
And for a penny and for a pound. Let's go. Yeah, but I think So, to me, I just usually read reviews just so I kind of know what's in the zeitgeist. Like, even if I don't even read the review, the fact that an album merits a review at the very least, that's usually an indication of like, oh yeah, maybe I should, give this a listen. That's usually
looking through reviews. I automatically go to the one that's like 1 star or 2 stars. It's like, what is so fucking wrong with this?
Yeah.
It's so bad about it. And I went to that first because it's like, okay, so you've got like fucking 12 albums here that are all like 4 and 5 stars, but you've got 2 albums that are fucking 1 star. And actually, it's like, okay, so if I listen to the 2 albums that have got 1 star and I actually like them, then where am I going to sit with the ones that are all fucking 5 stars? Are your tastes aligned with mine? I don't know. But I do find that far more fascinating. Like, what warrants a 1 star review? I mean, it's like, is it really that shit?
I love doing that for everything though, even like really mundane. Like, if I need to buy a new I don't know, toilet brush, and I'm about to order it online, and I see, oh, this toilet brush has 3,000 reviews, and it's got an average of 4.5 stars. Well, that's pretty good. Why is it not 5 stars? Someone is clearly very dissatisfied with this otherwise inoffensive toilet brush.
Everything gets a rating.
I'll go on to
everything gets a review. Everything gets a rating. I got an email the other day that they wanted me to rate the bag of gravel that I bought.
Stuff like that.
I'm like, what am I going to say about a fucking bag of gravel? Give me a break.
It was rocks?
Yeah, it rocked. That's
the bag didn't break. The bag didn't. I don't know.
I get that from like when I buy stuff at Screwfix. It's like, rate these batteries. Well, they fucking worked. Like.
I did write one time. I felt I needed to because I bought a pair of earbuds. And suddenly they started just shrieking in my ear, like they almost made me deaf. Just all of a sudden there was just this loud, and I felt that I should warn people you could go deaf from these. So they got a little work to do. I didn't put these in to go deaf.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. That's
it's like it's scary.
Yeah.
I think my favorite ones I ever came across was I think I was buying a comic once. It was it was a Batman comic by like a fairly well received Batman. It was a Grant Morrison one, so it was like, really, really good. And I found like, oh, why has it only got like 3.5 stars on average? And I scrolled down to all of like the 1 star reviews, and we were like, it was in German. It's like, it's basically all these really disgruntled people giving this book a 1 star review because they ordered it in the wrong language. So dumb, man.
That reminds me of Eric from Raised by Swans, or he is Raised by Swans, but I remember him telling me years ago when we were I think we were away on a tour together, and he said that like one of his albums, the last track, this fucking fan had bought this album and was emailed him, was like, this is not right. This record isn't right. It's not fucking sounding right. I want a replacement. So it's like, okay, yeah, sorry. So that CD must have been scratched or something, like whatever. So sent him another CD, and then he gets another fucking email back, and it's like, no, this is fucked as well. Like, maybe something's gone wrong at the factory. And it's like, can you describe like what it is you're hearing that's fucked? And what he was describing was at the end of the album, he just unplugs his guitar and it fucking makes a noise and it shuts off. And it's like, it's meant to be there. It's meant to be there. And this guy thought that, the whole thing, it was like right at the end of the fucking album.
Yeah.
It's the last thing that happens. That bullshit on that.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys for doing this. It was great.
Oh, thank you guys. It's been awesome. Really cool hanging out. Thank you.
It was awesome.
I hope your weather gets better.
Yeah.
I hope ours gets better too.
I
hope yours gets better. I mean, I think it seems more likely that it will. But yeah, I mean, like, it's nice to hope here.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.